Hey amigos, thanks for stopping in to watch this T.T.C video. This was actually the first run with the Frankenwagon with the new AR60s and the big 2.2 tires. Stick to the end and tell me how I did. So right off the bat, this little hole was no big deal, but for some reason I had a little bit of problems with this stump. I had to bounce it a little bit. Steering on this thing really isn't an issue. It was interesting that I was bottoming out on there. I had some high link clearance or high clearance links up there. The 2.2s, I should have had no problem getting over there, but I think the wheelbase was just a little long compared to some of the other vehicles. Turning on this stuff, it was actually harder than it looks. My truck was super heavy. So making it go around, I had the right wheel angle, but I was moving rocks. And so that was a little frustrating, moving all those rocks. So one thing I installed prior to this that I knew I wanted to do was the KNK Over Drive. I think it gives you 20%, 25% or 30% overdrive. It was awesome. It really helped in this situation where I got the front wheels to really drag me over. So the setup on this, I'm actually using an Element chassis, an Element Stealth X transmission. I'm using AR60s. And I'm using all Element links, high clearance links on it. So it was actually pretty cool. It was a real different setup. On this motor, I think I had the TrailMaster 3800 on it and the Mamba X. No, I had the Copperhead in this one, all censored. It was pretty cool. I really liked the way it performed. So carving through here, wasn't really super difficult, but part of them, it was kind of hard because you didn't know exactly where the boundaries were. Could you get one tire on the inside? How did that work? This one was pretty interesting because it was really off camber. My truck really wanted to twist up and I couldn't get the rear end around enough so I can make a straight approach at it. So I'm always wondering, where are all you guys at? Where are you watching from? We're in the Pacific Northwest, so drop us a comment, let us know where you're watching from, and I'll reply to it and read the comments. T.T.C is a timed event, and man, was this one driving me crazy. It seemed like it took forever to get my truck squared up. And when I finally got there, it wanted to roll over backwards. We'll talk more about that later, but the setup was just driving me crazy a little bit. So I have the Reefs internal winch IS800. Love that winch. I have it running directly off the receiver with and so I'm running it off my 4th channel on my GT5. Love the way it works. Really easy and efficient to set up. I actually have mine set up so it runs out fast and runs in slow. I used it in the tractor pull. Ooh, came right off the rock there. I used it in the tractor pull earlier, and it was really cool because what I ended up doing is I wrapped it around my axle in the front to suck down the front axle and get my weight transfer forward, and boy, did it pull well. So here I am trying to get myself out of these trees, and that winch really pulled this rig over. This rig is, I want to say it's 10 plus pounds, probably 11 pounds. A lot of steel tubing on there, all solid stock, and big 3D printed body. So back to this setup. It's a brand new setup. I've never ran this with AR60s, these big tires. I know this body is really back end heavy, so I've always had a problem with uphilling on this, wanting to keep that front end down. So you know, I've thought about some different things, maybe changing the shocks up, trying to get the chassis down, or the body down further on the chassis. You know, it's like a trail truck, so it's really tough. You have to walk that balance of cool scale and being able to do what you want it to, but also look really, you know, how you want it to. So ultimately, I think we're going to end up changing the 2.2s for a slightly smaller. I think I'm going to go 1.9 with the 1.9 Proline Baja Pro X. That's a little bit taller, like a 4.8 tire. You can see I'm kind of struggling here, wanting to roll back over. So I ultimately, you know, I decided to concede, and I know it's time for a winch. But that was the nail in the coffin, as they say. Well, that didn't go as planned. So, what do you do when you DNF'd and there's a big ramp at the end? You go full send. Here we go. Well, as I say, there's always next year. Thanks for sticking through to the end. And if you like what you saw, please consider subscribing and leaving a comment.